Hey guys, welcome back to my yard. It's Destry. I garden here in Pacific Northwest in the Willamette Valley, Oregon, Zone 8B. Welcome back to my yard. Today we are talking topiaries. So we are going to go through a couple of my topiary collection. I'm going to show you some quick and easy ways to make your own topiary. It's actually a lot of fun too. So stick around and let's check it out. All right, friends, here we are. I have pulled out most of my topiary collection. Down here are some that I'm going to be working on today, but let's take a look at my ones that I've done in the past and talk about what kind of plants work well for a topiary. First of all, this one here in the urn is a lavender plant. These four here are all boxwoods, and they actually all came from the same bush. So what I did is I went to my local, I think it was either what's called Jerry's here in town or Home Depot, and I bought one nice boxwood bush that I was able to find different branches and separate them and make them into what are called lollipop style boxwood. So you can see they have quite a bit of new growth here. This lighter green is all new growth. So I need to get in there and do some trimming to them. Obviously, they're looking a little wild. But you can see these are ones that I started last year, and they're actually looking pretty good. They overwintered in my greenhouse. Couple things. I do like to top dress my topiaries with some river rock. So I just literally go down to the river that's near us and get some buckets of river rock to top dress them. This one I've top dressed with a little bit of this, I think it's like little wood shavings. So those are, some of the lollipop topiaries. This one here is another one that I've created, and it's kind of hard to see, but it's actually a vining ivy, and it's growing on a metal loop. So I just took a piece of wire that I had. It was kind of this extra piece of wire. I made it into a loop and trained the ivy to go around it. So that is one that's worked really well for me as well. So other plants that work well for topiaries, what I'm going to be working with today is actually this one here. So this is a small lemon cypress tree, and I thought that would look really pretty for a topiary. And then I do have these two, well, I have a Milo down there, my Aussie Doodle, but I do have these two rosemary bushes that are just, they're looking a little wild, and I've been working on harvesting some of my other herbs, and I thought, well, maybe I could try to, shape them into more of topiary forms. So I'm going to give that a shot today, and I hope you stick around and check out the video. I'm going to show you how to do this. It's actually really easy. All right, I'm ready to start this project. So I'm going to put my gloves on and get ready to go here. And let's talk about what to look for at the nursery when you're looking for a type of plant that would be good to make a topiary out of. So what you want to look for is what's called a strong leader. So basically one of the stems, there can be multiple from the bottom, but you want one that's pretty straight, because I'm going to be creating sort of a lollipop shape. So this is going to be kind of a rounded shape up here. So peel back the layers when you're at the store and try to find one that has that strong leader. Now, the nice thing is if there's multiple strong leaders coming out from the bottom, but it looks like they're separate plants, that's when you can actually get a really good deal, because you can separate them out, which is what I did for some of these last year, where I literally, kind of cut the root ball apart and was able to get multiple topiaries out of one nursery plant. So the first thing I'm going to do with this guy is go ahead and take him out of his nursery pot, just to pot him up in something a little bit more attractive. I've got kind of a terracotta pot here, and I'm going to go ahead and backfill some of the dirt. And then I'm going to start the pruning process. So this is really where you can get creative. You could, it doesn't have to be a lollipop shape. You could do this as a triangular shape. You could do it as what's called a double lollipop, where you actually train it to have like a ball and then a second ball. But I still consider myself a beginner, so I'm sticking with sort of these lollipop forms. And when you put them in mass and you have a grouping of them, they really do, make a statement, and they're really striking. So I'm going to get this guy down in here. I'm just trying to make sure the root ball is covered. And I do have two different types of like clippers here. So I've got my regular like yard clippers, and then I did grab just a pair of scissors. So what I'm going to do is start at the bottom and just start working my way up to the top and removing some of these stems. And honestly, you guys, this is why for me, this is so much fun. So again, this is a little mini lemon cypress tree, which I did not realize, but the branches actually do have a smell of lemon to them. And these smell really good. And I've been wanting one of these for a while. I've been seeing them at the stores and wanting to try this project. So this is definitely something fun that I've been looking forward to. So I'm going to try to take off as many of these little branches down here as I can and, snip them close to the stem. And take your time and just go kind of slow. If you're feeling a little nervous about this and you're like, well, I've never done this before and I just spent money on this plant and what if I mess it up? Plants are going to grow back. So tell yourself that, first of all, it's just a plant. It's going to grow back. But just kind of have fun with it. A lazy Susan can help to kind of spin things around. And then I'm going to decide how far up I want the actual ball part. The other thing is you keep seeing me pull it. So what I'm going to do is, and I'm actually going to steal one from my ones that are already trained, but I'm going to go ahead and put a dowel in here. So any kind of bamboo dowel or something like that, just to help keep things straight, especially when you're just kind of training this. And especially if you've got a central leader that is a little bit, wonky, that wants to kind of flop over or needs, that training. So once I have a little bit of, negative space here, I can go ahead and do that. And then I'm just going to kind of keep working my way up the trunk. Probably should have waited to the end to put that stake in there, but I felt like I wanted to make sure it was straight as I was removing some of the stems. And then I can decide, like I said, how far up I want to go. I think I'm going to start with that. And now I'm going to work from the top down. So I want to kind of envision this round shape that I want to create. And I'm just going to kind of go for it. I can continue to use these shears, or I can just switch to something like just a regular pair of scissors. I like these because they have a nice straight blade. They sell obviously like really nice, bonsai or topiary shears, but I just haven't graduated to that level of topiary art quite yet. But as you can see, I'm growing my collection, and as I'm growing my collection's growing. And so it's fun to kind of give them a haircut every year and just look forward to, the different designs and shapes that you get when you're working with topiary. And the other thing that always gets me, you guys, is at the store, some of these topiaries can be so expensive. And when you see how easy it is, especially to create this, initial lollipop shape, once you can find, if you can find a good, like I said, one that has a good central leader, I'm going to lose one more row here, just kind of bring that up a little bit more. Once you see how easy it is, then you can really start looking for good plants that will work well for this. So rosemary, I've seen a lot of rosemary topiaries, any kind of boxwood, any kind of like smaller evergreen like this guy here. Lavender works really well. So that stick's kind of get in my way, but you can kind of see what I've got here. And in just a really short amount of time, here I'm going to flip this up just a little bit. In just a short amount of time, I've got a pretty cute little topiary. I love him. He's so great. So you can see that went really quickly. So if you want to stick around for the rest of the video, I'm going to actually tackle 2 more topiaries today. And they are both my rosemary plants that are completely overgrown. So I would say this one is like skill level easy. Those ones are going to be a little bit more tricky and more challenging, but I'm going to go ahead and give them a try. I also forgot, the last thing you want to do, I always do this with mine. Of course, I'm going to water this in and probably add a little fertilizer, some granule fertilizer, but I am going to top dress it. And you can top dress it with, something pretty like some glass beads or something. And like I said, I just happen to have some of this river rock. My family and I like to go down to the river, and I just bring home a bucket and for my topiaries, and so I can go ahead and just top dress this. And this kind of helps too, if you're going to have these outside, at least in the spring and summer, it helps keep the critters out of them. If you have like in my yard here in the Pacific Northwest, we have a lot of squirrels. So that kind of helps deter them from like burying their little seeds and stuff in the pot. All right, so there you go. There's the finished result. I'm really happy with that. So stick around, and now I'm going to tackle two that are going to be a little harder, but I got this. All right, next up, we've got this rosemary bush. Now, here's the deal. This one does not have the strong central leader. I don't think. I will have to peel back the layers and see what I can figure out. But I still think we can give it a little haircut and probably make it look a lot better than it does right now. All right, so here goes nothing. Okay, so here it is. You can see it looks pretty drastic from how it started, but honestly, I think this little guy is going to bounce back. He's going to do great. So I did top dress him with some fresh soil, and I am going to top dress him with some of my river stones and definitely fertilize. And I think that it's actually going to be a lot better for this plant. I've got one more to go, so let's see what I can do with that one next. All right, so you can see I'm down to these two main stems, and I've stripped the bottoms of them. So what I'm going to do now is kind of try to gently kind of twist them together and marry them together. I'm going to stake them and try to straighten the stem. Ooh, my stake just broke. Let me flip that around. This is a bamboo skewer, so this root ball in here must be pretty thick. All right, so there's that. So you can kind of see where I'm going here. So now those two branches are twisted essentially. And now I'm going to go ahead and put my training wire on here to help train that shape. And I'm going to keep my eye on it because probably what will happen is these two branches will continue to want to split. So I'm going to have to work on this guy a little bit. And make sure that they are, starting to grow together. In fact, I probably will put one more wire down here on the bottom just to really hold those two trunks in tight. But now I can go ahead and finish up the shaping of the top, put down some fresh soil, and continue finishing this one. Okay, so I'm all done. The only thing I have left to do is water these in, add some slow release fertilizer, top dress the top with some river rock, and I'm really happy with the way that these two rosemary bushes turned out. They're definitely going to be great for topiary. I think the plants themselves are going to be happier and healthier now that they're trimmed back a little bit. And the other thing I want to mention is don't worry, I'm going to be keeping all that rosemary that I trimmed back and drying it to use for my herbs. For my cooking. If you haven't checked out my video about how to utilize culinary herbs, check it out. It's the previous video to this one, and I think you guys will like it. If you did like today's video and you like seeing how to do projects like this, go ahead and do me a favor and subscribe to my channel, like the video, and share it with a friend. I hope that you guys give topiary a try. It's really fun and sort of simple. Don't be afraid. What's the worst that can happen, right? It's just a plant. It'll grow back, right? Anyway, go out and get in your yard today. Your backyard, your front yard, whatever green space you have is a really fun place to be. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.